Welcome back, traders. Let's see how things have been going. It is the end of the week, so we obviously want to take some time off. It's Friday, markets are going to start getting quiet quite soon. So let's have a quick review and see what has been happening in the markets to our existing trade mainly, as well as what's going on with the US dollar. As always, we're going to head on over to jpmarkets.co.za. You go under education and then select economic calendar, and it will load up this page here. That'll let us see what's happening. First of all, the rest of today is going to be dead quiet. Here we can see there's not much information coming out. It's all two bulls. So whatever is in place in the market, whatever motions we're seeing, we shouldn't see too much. We do have a speech coming out, but it's not as important as some of the other ones. And here we go, he's speaking again tonight, but we should be out of the market or stop loss is short up, so that's really not going to affect us at all. So it looks like clear sailing on that side. So let's have a look at our actual trades. The British pound Canadian, I'm glad we didn't close that trade off. It did start getting reasonably close to our stop loss, but like I said, it was in profit, so we felt reasonably comfortable to keep it open, and it looks like it's starting to spike up here. We are back to 275 pips profit on the remaining side of that. I don't see any reason to close the trade now, because the weekend could really work in our favor, but it might still reverse and then we could lose out on all of this profit. So that's the only reason I might close. So instead, what I'm going to do is I see here that we have a higher low that's formed. I'm just going to move the stop loss up a little bit to about this level in the hopes that it's going to continue up, maybe keep following this sort of pattern. One thing to take note of though is that the retail forex market, which is what we do, will be closing over the weekend, as it always does. So if something drastic happens over the weekend and the market ends up below your stop loss will only trigger when the retail forex market opens up again. So you might end up losing out on more than what your stop loss has here, but in this case we have a lot of space to go before we actually start losing money on the trade. 270, 280 pips. So I feel fairly confident that that's not going to happen over the weekend, and I just hope I'm not wrong. So yeah, I'm just going to move that up and let it chase and see how big we can get this one. The Euro New Zealand dollar did not bounce off close enough to the fib line, so I did not catch this trade going up. However, if we have a look at the crossover on this chart here, we can see that a crossover has formed. Stochastic is just going into the overbought territory, so we could look at a potential trade entry. If this were happening on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Thursday, I would most likely enter this trade because we would be able to have a reasonably close stop loss at about this level. And here we're looking at 120 pips to the stop loss, and on a 4-hour chart that is reasonable. On a 15-minute I would never even consider it, but on a 4-hour that's really not too much to look at. Now let's see what's happening with the US dollar. Let's see if it's still taking a hammering. We saw yesterday that it had some bad news, and all of these currency pairs were all showing that the US dollar has been performing poorly. We see that the correlation between the Canadian dollar has kind of let it not drop too much on that, but the other pairs it has been taking a bit of a hit. Here we have the US dollar index. We can see that it's leveled out, but it's still coming down quite a lot. This is the 1-hour chart. Let's have a look at the 4-hour. We can see that we had that big hit that came, and now it's lost a bit of momentum. This could be a consolidation phase before it continues to go down. It does look very poorly, but stochastic is heavily oversold, so we could see a retracement coming up based purely on the technical analysis side of things. But if we go back and we look at the euro dollar, you'll see that we had a high here that was closely matched there, right? Now what this means is that that would have been a fairly good point of resistance, because not only was it a high, but we could see that the market was moving up quite strong here and it reversed off quite strong there. And the same thing happened here. So these are definitely turning points. So with these two strong points, we can see that this is an important price level, and the market is just breaking this now. Now it is heavily overbought, so even if it were earlier in the week, I would not be considering this trade, but it does look a lot like the market could be breaking this level. It's not strong enough for us to enter a trade. What we would ideally like to see is for it to continue moving up and give us some kind of indication that yes, this is breaking through and it's going to keep on going up. Or the perfect scenario would be if the market were to come up and then come down, hit this line, and give us information that it's turning off the line, meaning previous resistance is becoming new support, then we could look at a very nice trade, trading all the way up. And there's not a lot of stops right up until, until about this level here. So we would have, 140 pips of clear sailing on the euro dollar, which would be very nice to get. Let's have a quick look at what's happening next week, specifically on Monday, just so we are forewarned. So we head on back to our economic forex calendar. By default, when you load it, it'll be showing you the current week. So what we need to do now is just change the dates, and I'm going to set mine to Monday, and click apply. And now this should be showing me what's happening on Monday. Now there's not much happening in the morning, in fact almost nothing until 4 o'clock, where we have some news coming out of the euro that is relatively unimportant, and then 5 o'clock out of the US dollar we have new home sales. So there's not very much to look out for on Monday. In actual fact, when there's such a small amount of news coming out, you might not want to even trade because the markets are going to be reasonably dead. Remember, the United States had Thanksgiving just yesterday. Today is Black Friday, so I think even a lot of the traders are going to be out doing their shopping. And Mondays are typically not very nice for trading. So we'll see you guys again on Tuesday. But if you are trading on Monday, just keep an eye out at 5 p.m. South African time on the US dollar. And make sure that your stop losses are tight and your take profits are big.